We are live.
Hey, Star Wars fans, Rule the Galaxy fans, it is Joe in the pilot seat of chapter 299 of the Rule the Galaxy podcast. Um, it's hard to believe that. One away from 300. We'll see what we're going to do for 300. We might just let the four of us sit around for number 300 and just chit chat and talk about memories and good times. I don't know. We haven't figured that out yet. Anyway, chapter 299 of the Rule of the Galaxy podcast. We are on all podcast platforms. Go check us out there. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, like, subscribe. We like all those people to comment, everything like that. Hey, I'm getting comments from myself and D-Doc on the chat already. So hopefully more of you will join. But it's Skeleton Crew night. And with Skeleton Crew night, it's good to have the whole crew together and talk about it. I'm going to whiz it around the room here because it was a wizard couple episodes. We're going to start with Chunk. Alfie, how you doing?
Good, man. I was rushing to get here. I was running behind, building a nightstand, actually. So,
All right.
been a busy night.
Nightstand. Is it for your room or someone else's room?
It's for Inslee's room.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. Major changes going on Casa de Molinero.
Yeah, the only thing that stays the same is change, my friend. As you can see, probably if you are watching on YouTube, which our friend Dr. Squatch is, I'm in the middle of a change of my office and studio as well. So I'm going to be putting a studio behind me here to where I'll have everything away from my work desk and have a separate area just for the studio. So you'll like that once that gets all set up. But we're in a process right now. It's a process. The box just showed up with a new table for the studio. I just haven't put it together. Let's go around to the man with the plan, the guy who I love to work on trivia with, Brent Dykman. How you doing, Brent?
I have no plan. The only plan I have at the moment is to maybe get a better computer so I can run this new Eva Mux. I don't know. This thing is going well. Joe, just to let you know, we are all four live on YouTube, even though it may not look like it for us. So all four faces, my shining mug. The other thing is, I was looking at podcasting equipment also. So like, it's whether I get like new microphones and a streaming like mixer board, or do I get a new computer? Is kind of where I'm at, and I don't know if I want to invest in either of those at the moment, but that's kind of where I'm looking at.
I say go for it, my friend. It never hurts. Let's go. Let's throw all caution to the wind. Let's just have fun with this because Brent, like you've told me for years now, doesn't matter if anybody's listening to us or it's just the four of us. We're having fun. This is a good little get together for us to chat, say hi to our friends like the Hyperspace Heroes podcast. Thank you. And let's go to the guy who put this EV Mux all together out in Philly. D-Doc, how you doing, brother?
Hopefully it doesn't turn into EV sucks or EV, Jesus.
Wow.
Doing good. The 7-day trial went very smoothly with this, but right when the account gets charged, it seems like the bugs start to happen, I guess. I'm going to have to really do a little bit more learning on this. I don't know why you guys can't see yourselves, which it would, to be honest with me, like, I'm so OCD with things being right on my screen. If I couldn't see myself, it would honestly kind of piss me off a little bit because every now and then you just got to make sure you're in the screen.
Doc, I'm ugly as hell. I don't need to see myself. I'm all good.
Good.
Yeah, I'm kind of finding it entertaining that I can't see me unless I look down into the down at the bottom of the computer. I can just watch you guys, and that way I'm not paying attention to what I look like or anything like that. And if I pick my nose, only you guys can see it. I can't see it. So, yeah. So, guys, it's December. It's crazy to think about. Have you started your Christmas shopping before we get to the big stories of the night?
Man, I'm not ready. I just had my anniversary. Then I have my wife's birthday, December 10th.
Oh gosh.
And then I have Christmas. So it's like I have 3 in a row where it's like bang, bang, bang. It's hard enough to buy gifts for one event, and then I get like I get the Holy Trinity from November to December here. So luckily, she makes a good list. I haven't bought shit yet.
Fortunately for you, it's all online. Just remind yourself of
I
that.
mean,
Exactly.
the 12-year-old basically made a cart, and all I had to do was hit click. I mean, and like Hudson is Hudson, and like he'll be happy if he has Mickey Mouse Clubhouse on his iPad.
There you go. Alfie, how about you? Have you started shopping for Christmas yet?
Oh yeah, we hit it hard last weekend. Amazon is practically living on our street at this point.
Yeah.
And yeah, between that and all the stuff going on in the house, the garage it's pretty crowded again already.
So I don't really make a lot of expenditures, right? Like I don't go and spend money on things. If I do, because I grew up poor and because my wife and I had no money forever, I will always say, "Hey, I'm gonna go buy this. Is that all right?" Or "Hey, just in case you see this on the credit card bill or whatever, here's what I'm doing." It's just something I've always done. But daggone it, right around Christmas, when you try to buy something for your wife and she's the one that looks at the bank account and the credit cards every day, and then she goes, "What's this over here? Why is this?" It just really blows it out of the water. I can't sneak anything by her, and it's not like you can order stuff online with cash, so you have a paper trail. So yeah, I was trying to surprise her with something. I guess it'll still be a surprise when she gets it on Christmas, but she knows the expense has happened. So, it is what it is. I need a separate account. That's what I need.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm the type where it's like I can't help myself. There's always one thing I want to do that's off of the list that I want to surprise, because I went a long time without making lists. And now it's gotten to the point where I'm like, yeah, I'm probably better off just making the list and, giving people, because I'm just technically making it harder on other people by saying I need you to, you can think about what to get me.
But Doc, I got a question. Like, we're sitting here as adults. Like, what is on a Christmas list for the D-Doc?
Legos.
Oh, by the way, did anybody make the TIE Fighter today? Because that one was a little bit confusing for me.
I didn't see it, but this morning Meg told me, she was like, David had a challenge with the build for the Lego today. I didn't see him build it, but she said he was having a challenge with it and he kind of like fought through it and did it, and he did well with it. She said it was pretty tough, so I did not see that one yet.
Yeah, my daughter, who she opened it for me because she loves advent calendars. She has her makeup advent calendar. She just opened my son's toy car ones, and she wanted to put together the Lego. And she's like, "I don't know how to make this." I said, "I don't know how to either." And so when I sat down, I can see where it was a little bit confusing. It wasn't as straightforward as Leia, or the X-wing was pretty tough too.
Yeah. The X-Wing, they pretty much just gave you a picture of it and was just like, build it. They only really showed you how to put the top wing onto
Correct.
it.
Right.
I don't jump into the advent calendars yet. I know you guys are all into that. It is not something I've done, but I did make. I sent you guys a picture of the little mini Boba Fett Slave One with Boba in it. That was pretty fun. My grandson Frankie helped.
Yeah, you did.
make the he really loved it once it was done, and he knew his colors. I'd say, go grab that red piece, go grab a green piece. He knew what we were doing, but man, that was a tough one right there. So, do we have any other news besides Skeleton Crew? I know we've got Dave Filoni doing some talking. I know we've got Alfie. Our next Ollie's purchase is being released in Black Series.
That's right.
Kalnaka.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
we'll
boy
be
Kalnaka.
picking up the entire Acolyte series at Ollie's at some point. I was talking to Adam Bray about that today. Between Target and Walmart here, there has not been a single Acolyte figure that's moved off the pegs.
It's sad.
And the lightsabers, the build your own lightsabers already are on clearance.
I think if done properly, I think with the Skeleton Crew, I think they're going to be able to move some merchandise. It seems kid friendly, so we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, the Acolyte stuff, God bless them. I know they tried. It's not going anywhere. We'll see how soon it gets to Ollie's. Hey, Dave Filoni at the premiere for Skeleton Crew, I believe, right? He's he's working on Ahsoka season 2. He is
the next project.
He's the only one writing it, so he's a single writer on that. He's it's all him. So that's going on. And what are they? They made an announcement on Mandalorian and Grogu as well, right? Did they have?
Yeah,
some
he said that it is finished filming.
Okay, but we're still not looking at that one until 2026.
Right. Yeah. Was that May 2026? I think.
I believe so.
Squatch, are you pumped for the Ahsoka series, or are you pumped for Grogu and Mando? You just said I'm pumped for that, so I'm trying to figure out which one you're pumped for.
And Squatch,
Maybe he's pumped for both.
I'm running behind on shipping out your book. I will have it out. I've got your address. I will have it out to you ASAP. Sorry, Big Joe got caught up in all kinds of stuff.
Big Joe, is that a new nickname here?
Are
you Big Joe now?
I'm kind of going into the role of Big Joe. Yes, that is once now that my kids are grown up and the grandkids are here. A lot of Joey's friends and buddies call me Big Joe already because that's it was Joey and Big Joe. Even though my dad was Big Joe, my grandfather was Big Joe before that. But I think as you fade off into the distance, Big Joe fades away, and you have a short window to be Big Joe.
Grandpa was always Big Joe.
Yeah.
And, to me, obviously it was Uncle Joe. But now you're taking the reins as Big Joe.
I get that.
Oh, by the way.
Got to start making Sunday sauce.
By the way, I was killing time. So before Thanksgiving, I got a quick story time from Dykeman. Before Thanksgiving, I was killing time before I went and watched Wicked. And I was walking around Dick's Sporting Goods. So I'm walking around and I'm just killing time. And around comes the corner is this lady that says, "Hey, Star Wars podcast guy." And I was like, "Huh? What's going on?"
My sister.
Yeah, it was. But she's like, "Yeah, I seen your picture on the YouTubes." I was like, "You listen to us?" He's like, "Yeah, like we're gonna be around each other for Christmas, so I gotta have something to make fun of him about." So I ran into Joe's sister. And then she friended me on Facebook, and like we talked for a few minutes. But I was recognized from my little face on the YouTube channel.
Love it.
Like, "Hey, Star Wars podcast guy."
You're a lucky man, Brent. All right, I've been making social media content for a while now, and I really actually do want that moment to happen where I'm in Home Depot and someone says, "Hey, you're Dave Doc DIY," like. And it's never happened to me. I have 55 million views on my YouTube channel. I've never had one person say they know who the hell I am.
I had it about a year and a half ago when we were doing this too. He is now part of the podcast of the Rule the Galaxy universe because he's one of those guys. And Tom Line came up to me at a high school musical and was like, "Hey, Brent Dykeman from Rule the Galaxy." And he's like, I'm Joe's friend Tom. So, and now he's on those guys.
I might fly out to Indy and just go shopping there one day and just see if someone recognizes me.
The other thing is I want to bring up those guys since I started down this road. Sorry that I took you off of Star Wars news.
No, you're good.
From those guys, we're going to bridge the universes together. I didn't hear the end of it because I got out of the car, yada, yada. What was Mass's take on Acolyte? Because I feel like I have the same kind of the aesthetic and the same kind of, at least for Acolyte, as what Mass is. Because yes, I'm not a huge fan, but I didn't think it was like absolute garbage, like a few of you guys think it is.
Like I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Worst Star Wars ever.
Mass was very similar to you on it. He wanted me to give a rundown as to why people didn't think it matched up to where it needed to be on the Star Wars scale of likability.
I just didn't know if he would. If I don't know if he shared his view.
No, not so much. He just said he didn't hate it, I think, as much as other people did. So he said there were parts that he liked, there were characters that he liked, but it wasn't his favorite. He just felt like from listening to us, he was like, why are you guys so down on it? It was good. It was fun. And we've had some fun. It's been filler stuff just to fill time, especially because those two guys will sit there and go, "Hey, I'm getting up early Saturday morning. Do you want to talk?" And I'll go, "Sure." And we'll have coffee and we'll sit and talk about pretty much everything, especially like my wife sneaking a Chick-fil-A fountain Coke into the movie theater.
By the way, that is epic. I'm sorry, like the fact that a styrofoam cup, because I get big gulps, right? It's a styrofoam cup that can be punctured at a moment's notice.
Yes.
By anything inside of a purse, and it made it through unscathed. To me, it's epic.
My wife has mad skills when it comes to styrofoam cups and fountain drinks. She is known throughout the Midwest because one, she doesn't like drinks out of the can. She doesn't like drinks out of the bottle. She wants fountain drinks, and God love her, she loves them in the styrofoam cup. If you go to McDonald's where it's a plastic cup, or if you go to some other fast food joint and it's not a styrofoam cup, okay. Just to let you know her level of intensity on it, and I know we're going way off subject, she will save her styrofoam cup from Chick-fil-A, and if we go somewhere else, she will pour it out of the other cup into the Chick-fil-A cup just so she doesn't have the sweat and the bead and everything else on it.
I don't blame her, but I would also say that for whatever reason, the carbonation at McDonald's is the best fountain carbonation that you can get.
Okay.
Now, have you seen the video of the guy who goes to the movies where he brings the car seat in with the towel over it, baby napping, brought a whole dinner in?
Mm-hmm.
He brought a whole dinner in.
I haven't seen the whole
plates.
In college, I kid you not. We were getting ready to go to a movie, and my roommate was about 2/3 of the way done cooking a pizza. We couldn't leave. He took his Tombstone pizza, cut it into slices, put it in aluminum foil, and put it into the cargo pants of his shorts, and walked into the movie theater with a Tombstone pizza in his cargo shorts.
I gotta respect that.
It blew my mind. I was like, "Are you serious?"
And there was a phase of my life where cargo shorts and cargo pants were a big part of it. It no longer is the case, but man, they have their necessity. Their uses right there. Yeah.
I think we went to go see Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. Whatever. I know it was the Indiana Jones movie, but Robin snuck a 6-pack in her purse for me.
That's love right there.
There's no quiet way to open it in the movie theater.
No.
Yeah. I did that one time for my friends. I had a jacket that had inside pockets, so I looked like I weighed probably about 100 more pounds than I really did. And I was like, if this guy asks questions, I'm going to look like the biggest asshole here. But so half the movie theaters I go to, you're lucky if there's even a guy standing there at the booth anymore to even look at your ticket once you get past that certain point there sometimes. So, big movie weekend. A lot of money made.
Yeah.
It was the biggest one since 2018, 2017?
They're back. They're back in a big way.
There. Well, it's got to be the special ones, right? So I feel like I don't think movies the way movies were are back, but I think the special ones are back.
Every time we have this conversation, you add another amendum to why movies aren't back.
Correct. But I was impressive to see that those 3 movies, they did really well.
Yes, and I have only seen one of them, Gladiator 2. Dr. Squatch making some comments here. I saw Gladiator 2. Obviously, to me, Gladiator, the original, was a 10 for 10. It's just hard to beat that movie in any way, shape, or form. I would give this 5.5 or 6.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That hurts.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
if it was a movie not supposed to really be part of that genre or part of that fandom, you could say, all right, that was a pretty good movie. But because you were setting it up against something so good, I bumped it back. I mean, it might have been a 7 if it was a standalone, but yeah, 5.5, 6 for me.
Alfie, Alex G agrees with me. I'm just want you to know I don't know who you are, Alex, but you're bang on with this. It has to be the special ones, right?
I've said that from the beginning, but you haven't.
I've said that they haven't been back because people just haven't gone back to it, and it
Right, but now that people are, now you're adding
Now-
another layer to your argument, which
Look.
is completely fine. I'm just making the point because I like to poke the bear a little bit.
Hey, Hyperspace Heroes, yes, sequels are tough to do. I think we all know that. Prequels are even sometimes tough to do. So, I mean,
Hey, but you know what's even
Ooh.
tougher to do?
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Something new.
true. Very true. Hey, I did hear, though, that because of the success of Gladiator 2, they are looking to make Gladiator 3.
That was the original idea that he had like 20 years ago, was that there would always, no matter the generation, there would be a gladiator that kind of like Neo, the chosen one. He just shows up every once in a while, no matter what happens.
Chosen One movies are very popular. Go ahead, D-Doc.
So number one, shout out to Alex. I know Alex. Number two, if you were going to write an IMDb review on it, because over Thanksgiving, this was a conversation we were having with people about Gladiator 2, because I want to see it, and I'm probably going to wind up going to see it by myself randomly, because I don't really even know the point of trying to schedule like a weeknight to see it with my friends, because we just go, we see it, we say goodbye. But I just want it to be a 7. That's all I said. I need it to be a 7 because you don't get as many, and I wouldn't. Would you label it as fantasy? Probably not. It's like fantasy fiction kind
Historical
of
fiction.
historical fiction, but it's. I love, I grew up going to the theater seeing Lord of the Rings. I love sword fights. Like I just love that old school feel. I love Gladiator. I love Troy. Like, those are movies I love. So I'm like, I want to see this in the theaters because I want people to make more movies like this. But I did hear that there's sharks in the Coliseum, and that kind of like made me think like, whoa, that's like a little crazy far-fetched.
It's not really, because they actually had boat battles.
Yes, they used to flood
the
it.
Coliseum, and they had naval battles in the Coliseum.
Yes.
They would put crocodiles in, I've read, though, and they kind of upped it a little bit. And, what's his name? The director is just like, you're telling me they couldn't get a net and catch a shark and throw it in that water there? And it's like, okay, well, I guess if you put it that way, anything could happen.
I would say this: great action, pretty good storyline. Again, I think it's just a biased thing because it's hard to live up to that initial one. And the lead character was pretty good. I was happy that the lady, the lead role female, was back in this episode. Pedro Pascal did a good job in his role. So I mean, it was overall a decent, good movie. It just wasn't up to that level. Like, there's very few movies where I'm like, it's hard to match that. And like I said, standalone, I would say it's probably a 7, but then I'm using the bias to knock it down a little bit. I think you'll enjoy it.
All right, good. I'm gonna see Wicked. Wicked's definitely. I'm seeing it this upcoming weekend. The press tour drove me crazy, but I saw a scene of them doing one of the songs that I like from the soundtrack, and I was like, damn it actually looks really good. So I am probably going to go see it.
D-Doc, if Alex G saw you somewhere, would he recognize you? Would he be able to say, hey, you're D-Doc from... Okay. Well, see, I feel better now. Yeah. So, to move away from movies, I did want to bring this up. Last week of the regular season of fantasy football for the Dynasty League.
Why?
Why,
Joe? Why put insult to injury in this? Okay, continue.
Yeah,
Right,
that one hurt. It's a
yeah.
rough week.
Right now,
Well-
Lori, Mrs. Molinaro, is tied with Alfie for first place in their division. Right now,
Give her some credit here. I mean, talk this up a little bit because she scored 175 points in
yeah,
1 week.
yeah.
That's a big-
She said she's been on a heater. She's been
I
on a good
lost
run.
and scored like 150 points.
You would have beat me. You would have beat me, but I got lucky because hey Jude,
Oh man,
don't be afraid to make a sad owner and make him better. I,
I
have
was
no
a
idea.
fool for not starting freaking Jameis, man. I started him
Oh.
last week. I paid it wasn't great. I should have
Oh.
freaking started him. I would have won this week, and I would
Yeah.
have been tied with Joe. I'm still not eliminated though, actually, which
Oh,
is
I'm-
crazy.
I was eliminated week 3, but I did pull a good one with Hey Jude and Jerry Judy went
I
nuts.
loved it.
219, 220, and a touchdown. Like
Oh yeah, he
Whatever it
killed
took. Yeah, 219, 220.
whatever it takes, right?
Yeah.
Well done, Joe. Well done.
Thank you.
But-
So yeah, you still have a chance for the playoffs, Alfie.
He's
You
a
still have a
Yenzer,
chance
isn't
for the playoffs. D-Doc, your brother has already locked up a spot in the playoffs.
I know he's having a good year.
Tom Line from those guys has already locked up a spot in the playoffs. Mass has already been eliminated. Brent has been eliminated, but he's battling for that first pick in next year's draft.
And I'm telling you, I have a solid team set up for next year.
So see, there's always tomorrow. I'm tied with friend of the show, Jeff Oshner, for first place in my division. So we take 6 into the playoffs, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8 teams battling out for the 6 spots. So yeah, so it's coming down to the wire next week. So it ought to be fun. But I want to just give an update on that real quick. And heck, you never know. Maybe we expand next year and we add Dr. Squatch because he's been talking up fantasy football with us, or we see if anybody wants to drop out of the league and we make him the expansion team and bring him in. So go ahead, Brent.
I just wanted to bring up because I feel like we need to transition into our talk about the show that is
Yes.
out, and I wanted to bring up Hyperspace Heroes because if Jude Law was in Gladiator 2, I think it would be an automatic 8. Because I mean that's one A-list actor that you have.
Yeah. I mean, do we right now consider Pedro Pascal an A-lister?
Definitely,
He's close. He's a draw, and he's an almost like that dude is in everything. I feel like.
So I mean, if you put him and Jude Law in there, I mean,
No. I say he's not.
He's
He's a
close.
pretender.
He's close though. People like he's used as the draw. He's marketed as the draw.
And theatrically, what has he done that's
he did that
A-list?
movie with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, that was.
That was a weird movie, by the way.
Yeah,
I
the
think
weird-
Fantastic Four is probably one of his biggest tests for him. I can't say that about Mando because, he does the voice for him and stuff, but like, it's not like a Pedro Pascal, the face of the poster movie. You know what I mean? I'm not going to try to discredit him though for what
No,
he's done.
absolutely not. He
for
was
The
great in Game of
Mandalorian.
Thrones, but that was what, one season?
Yeah, that was early seasons too. Like that was like season 2 or 3.
No, and that was impactful. It really was because for a
Right.
while, I mean, he was amazing in Game of Thrones, in my opinion.
Until his head got popped like a jujube.
Right.
Yeah,
He's good in The Last of Us, but I mean, is James Gandolfini's success in The Sopranos, does that make him an A-list actor?
They tried to make him an A-list actor. Then every time he was a headliner, the movie just kind of was like, eh.
Right.
He was really good in Get Shorty.
Yeah, he was good in that movie. Nice one there. That's a
Thank
good
you.
pull.
Thank you. Yeah. So hey, Brent, you're right. Let's jump in head first. Let's go into this with the Skeleton Crew. We saw 2 episodes last night. I went into it, and I think we had in our chat talks about it. Like, what helped get it to where it is, what hurt it where it is. I think. I mean, I haven't heard any other interviews except Jude Law about this show. I haven't heard any of the kids do an interview. I haven't heard
They
any.
did a whole press tour.
Yeah. So I mean, the kids did, Alfie.
Yes.
See, I haven't heard one of them.
Yeah, I just saw my first
There's a reason
video
for
of the
that.
kids today. Today was the first time I saw clips of the kids, and it was at Galaxy's Edge. They had them out there at Galaxy's Edge, and they were doing some interviews with them.
This, I felt like maybe having it more muted and not going out there and speaking off the cuff and saying whatever you felt like saying, maybe made it to where I just sat back and said, well, I don't know enough about it. Let's just see what happens. Because some of the other shows have been put out there a lot. So we kind of had a feeling of what was coming, or we at least started to build up likes or animosity towards some of the people who were in it. This one, besides hearing Jude Law say he was going to have fun and it was a fun show, that's all I really remember from the lead up to it. But I will say right off the bat, this was a very reminiscent show. This was, Brent always says you want to feel you want to feel comfortable, right? You want to be in your comfort zone or be brought back to home, right? This felt like me being a kid in the 80s, watching shows that were going on in the 80s, except it was in the Star Wars universe. So I went into it with no goals or aspirations, and I really enjoyed it. And there were lots of little callbacks, lots of little things. But overall, I would say 2 thumbs up. I enjoyed the first 2 episodes. If it means anything, I was talking to Tom Line. He said he and his wife liked it. Lori watched them with me. Lori said, "Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the next episode and see where this goes." So just go around the horn. Whoever wants to start, and people with hats, people without hats, people with facial hair, people without facial hair, go right ahead. Say,
Who doesn't have facial hair?
Oh yeah, Alfie. I'm sorry, I couldn't see your picture. Yes, you have facial hair right there.
Yeah, I know it's so bright since we painted the walls white.
I feel attacked on this one. You said people with hats, and then you're like, oh wait, not everybody has a hat. People without hats too.
Well, I didn't do it that way. I meant the 3 people I can see on the screen. Some have hats, some don't have hats. So
I will start because I know I'm different than everybody else in the room.
Admitting that is one of the key things in life, Brent.
I've never made qualms about being different. That is who I am.
Yeah, it is.
But,
fine.
so,
Samesies.
What's that?
I said samesies.
Right? Like I'm unapologetically who I am. I don't know if what's going on in my life and all of this other stuff that are going on, but I have tried to watch the first episode 4 times, and I have not gotten to a point where I can get it and have it hold my undivided attention. Something goes on, and I just have not been able to sit through it and have it pull me in. So I'm sitting here and I'm telling you that I have not got through all of the second one, but
that's perfect.
So I am willing to go back and watch it, but I just have to be able to get to a spot where I have nothing else, nothing in my hand, and I can actually give it the time that it needs.
You be you, Brent. You do your thing.
This is classic Alfie and Brent right here.
I know.
Because
it's absolutely.
You're an Andor guy, and Andor was like white noise to me. But this show I absolutely loved every minute of it.
I'm not saying that it's not like it just hasn't pulled me to where I have to put down whatever I'm working on or I'm not afraid to get pulled and moved in a different direction. I just haven't had the chance to give it my undivided attention. I have Matt Evans, who's a friend of the show, who plays Legion. He watched it with his 5-year-old. His 5-year-old's pumped for next week. Right? Like he loves it. He's ready to jump on it. Matt sent me like 4 text messages today. Have you seen it? It's amazing. And so we exchanged quite a bit. Like he was all about it right away. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it. I'm not going to say that it's not bad. I'm not going to say that it's like everything that I've heard from everybody is positive, but I just it hasn't pulled me in to the point where I've seen reviews of it.
Dr. Alfie?
Yeah, I mean, as we go along, there's going to be a lot more points, to make about storyline and everything. But just like initial reaction, watched both last night. Um, I'm a weird guy when it comes to actually like laughing out loud at things watching movies. I don't always do it. I tend to more so smile. This actually made me laugh out loud like multiple times watching it. And kind of say, what the hell is that every so often? Like they're really pulling off some weird stuff with this, especially in the second episode. Yeah, I got to have two experiences, one by myself and watch the first episode with my whole family tonight. The kids were into it. They were yelling when the ship was taking off, when the kids were on it. Like my daughter is just like, they got to get off. And I'm just like, this is the best. They're all into Star Wars right now. It's just, I love it. I feel like one of the best lines in it was when they're asking what you want to do, and the kids are all choosing these, basic jobs, and Mim or Wim. Wim, goes, I want to help people. I want to actually do something, and it's like, I felt like I could see like little David, like hearing that. And he's like, yeah, like I agree. And I'm like, this is awesome. It's like perfect for kids. It really is perfect for kids. It's perfect for adults. It doesn't have to be for either or. To me, this is just covering all the grounds, and it looks great. I like the visuals. It gets a good grade on visuals for me. I know we're going to get into more, but I just want to say I'm really pumped about it. I'm pretty fired up.
Alfie, man.
I'm not going to say too much until we start getting into it, but yeah, I really loved it. I watched both episodes twice. I thought they were great. As an adult, I think child actors are always going to come across as a little, I don't know, silly maybe, but I don't know if that's the right word, but I think you know what I mean. And I thought they did a great job, especially with how much action there was in both episodes and how much they depended on the children, acting while they're doing something. It was a big step up.
It definitely reminded me of a Star Wars version of Goonies, of E.T. There were throwbacks to that kind of a feel in all of it.
Yeah.
The kids were that well, like you mentioned about their acting chops, right? That's what it reminded me of, because in the 80s when you were watching movies like that, you didn't feel like those kids, like you said, Alfie, were reading off a card. They were acting.
Right.
They were actually playing their role. I think one of the things I wanted to read was Alfie was talking to Adam Parker. Adam Parker and some of us talk online, and
one of our like 30 group chats.
Yes, yeah, and he, Adam was asked questions, and Alfie said the clearest example of how good it was, I had little to no interest in finding Easter eggs or references. It was that good. Best description I've read so far. This show is everything J.J. Abrams has strived to be his entire career, and I think that's pretty cool. I think that's good. I mean, J.J. Abrams is pretty well known person in movies, TV, all that stuff, and a lot of his stuff is reminiscent back to that Steven Spielberg 80s Amblin kind of feel, and this definitely had it. I also liked some of the throwbacks to the Captain Silvo at the very beginning of the first episode, where he pinned the guy against the wall, talking about the what was it? The
vault.
The vault. Thank you. And it was almost doing word for word lines of Vader said to Leia in Tantive 4, right?
Yeah, it went even further than that. Like the whole build-up was so similar to the intro.
Rebels.
I saw one today where they actually played both scenes at the same time, and it's kind of eerie how well they line up, especially when the one guy looks up as they're, feels them being docked.
Yep. It was great on that. Alfie, you and I were talking about it. The spikes or the tubes that they used were exactly like two different episodes of the Clone Wars where they used those. They came through the side of the ship. and then pried it open to where you could come in from the pirate ship.
Right,
That-
but it was also like a Pirates of the Caribbean with the planks.
Yep. So I mean, it so many touch points all the way around that it was really cool, and it wasn't like you said, it wasn't like an Easter egg, but as the words were coming out of some of their mouths or as the actions were occurring, it just clicked in your head. Wow, that scene's kind of playing off that scene, right? Or from that.
Mhm.
So really enjoyed that. What are points you guys want to hit on? Because I've got bunches of little notes and things like that to talk about here. What are some of the things you guys want to hit?
Sticking with the opening scene, did someone else rob the vault? Is that why there was one credit left?
Interesting.
Kind of like, hey, we're leaving this just to show you
Yeah.
we took everything else.
Like the Joker in The Dark Knight when he leaves all the fake bills behind?
So, different question. Sorry. That was Jude Law in a helmet, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
He's credited with being in that episode, and there is no credit for Captain Silvo
Right.
as a
You
voice actor or an actor.
right, because you don't see him until like episode 2.
Right.
It looked like body shape like him, and it sounded like him, but I wasn't positive that like they weren't trying to make you think it was somebody like him, but not him. Like
Yeah,
maybe like an ancestor or something.
They
like
never came out and said that it was him, but I'm with you. The assumption is that was his like Jack Sparrow moment.
Right.
Correct. I'll start at the beginning. We got a scroll, but not a scroll. I mean,
Right.
it was
So
very
this is
similar.
the third. Did Andor have a word scroll or word screen like this, or was it just Ahsoka and the Acolyte?
Ahsoka and the Acolyte did.
Solo.
Um,
Are you talking about TV show though?
Yeah, Solo too didn't.
Solo
Have
had
a scroll.
words.
Right.
It didn't have a scroll, but it had like the long time ago in the galaxy far,
Mhm.
far away font
Right.
with like a couple words leading into it. And then
Yeah.
what Rogue One didn't have anything. It just jumps right into
Nope.
it.
Rogue One. I thought Rogue One. Oh
It
no.
started the trend.
They
of
just
not
they
having
just had one
It was
word
nothing.
for like the planet. Or
It
whatever.
had an opening scene and then a
Okay.
musical cue, and then it's the logo for Rogue One.
Then
Yeah,
it
and
goes
the
bam,
Lambda,
and it jumps right to
Yes.
the Lambda shuttle landing on the black sand.
yeah.
Alfie, a couple things. One, we were just talking about the music cues. Giacchino, right? Is that his name? Is that how you pronounce it? The guy who kind of is following in the footsteps of Williams.
Mhm.
He was the one handling the music on this. I liked the music. It felt like it matched up with it. And guys, we were talking about it. It felt real. The visuals felt real. They didn't feel like a TV set.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like you were in real situations, real scenes. I just like that feel of it for Star Wars. I think that's very important compared to like a Star Trek. Go ahead, Brent.
The only thing I want to say about the visuals, because I've heard you guys say it, and again, I have had my attention pulled away, so yada. The high speed speeder of like the girl and the android and like the Geordie LaForge girl,
KB.
sure. That was almost like the moped scenes of the Boba. It was faster, but to me it felt the same.
Absolutely not.
I know. I know.
I looked at see what's funny, Brent, is I looked at that and I'm just like, this is how this should be. Now, don't get me wrong. Is it like movie theater quality? Probably CGI. No, but is it better than a lot of the stuff we've been getting out of this?
Oh.
10 times yes.
It's better, but I still think it's a little. To me, it was a little off. Like I would like to have seen it a little bit better. I'm picking a nit and I'm looking at it, trying to like find, like not necessarily find things that
I
you guys.
went into the show expecting to be appalled at those scenes, and
Okay.
I thought they were light years better than the Acolyte
So
and the Book
sure.
of Boba Fett.
I mean, I liked the Ahsoka, or I liked Sabine on the motorcycle in Ahsoka better than I
Who
liked
didn't?
this one. Well, like I think that scene was cut and filmed and shot better than this moped scene. So, like compared, like I'm looking at it that way. Looking at it
She
that
was
way,
also on a bridge with nothing else around her,
well, you had the grass.
but not going through traffic.
Yeah.
I think the whole traffic thing is what throws you off a little bit. And we haven't, even going back to some of the best, like, say, like Attack of the Clones, it still doesn't look quite right. I'm with you. It's not. We're always going to compare it to Return of the Jedi,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's not that, but we're also compounding it with making everything around the chase 100 times more complicated.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to me. And I got to say, one thing I was surprised about was at Atten, I think it's awesome. I kind of like saw it and was like, it's a little, I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about that when I saw it in the trailers. And I'm going to go back to the line that people say. I feel like 2 episodes in, everything in the worlds that they're showing feels lived in. And that's always the thing that people want. It's like you see the bedrooms. He's got stuff all over the place. Like it feels like my kid's room, to be honest with you.
Did you notice that his bedroom looked like the rooms from the Star Cruiser?
Yeah, I did notice that actually. Little David goes, "This is what the future's gonna look like." When he was in his bedroom, he's like, "This is what the future is." I'm just like, "Hey, you never know, man."
Yeah, I didn't care for the look of the planet in the trailer. I agree with Brent. The lawns and stuff, and the guy walking his dog, the frog dog, was off. But once you get into the story, it kind of makes sense, and it looks like, it was from Return of the Jedi.
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree.
It looks like Tomorrowland, and it's like this weird technological utopia that's somehow existing all on its own, which I think is a lie, and we'll find more about that later.
Go ahead, D-Doc.
Speaking of Disney, am I wrong that the driver of the bus is the first droid you see when you go into Star Tours?
Yes, an RX droid.
Yeah, love it.
The original Captain Rex, right?
Right.
See, I don't know the history as well.
Dealer in the Book of Boba Fett.
Okay, yeah. So like I see it's funny because it's like I've started paying attention to more details, number one, once I got on this podcast and since I've been to Disney more often, over the last couple of years. And I always see that droid right when you walk in there, which he was the droid who was the pilot of the ship before they introduced 3PO, correct?
Yes.
So I love seeing him on the bus. That's why I said to David, I was like, "Oh, isn't that the guy from Star Tours?" He's like, "Oh my God, it is." He's like all fired up. I'm telling you, man, I have my like Star Wars moment tonight watching this show. That's why it's gotten like a boost,
So, one, I don't think in a lot of the previous Star Wars things that we've seen since Disney's taken over, we've seen enough aliens.
Oh,
We saw every kind of alien you could see in this episode, and Brutus, the werewolf guy, was cool. I love seeing that from a throwback to the cantina. Go ahead, Brent.
did Jude Law in his helmet in the opening scene do like an eye poke on the Mustafarian guy? Like the three, it's not Mustafar, but isn't he Mustafarian?
The Reese?
Reese.
Is a Reese, the guy with 3 eyes.
Yes.
It looked like he did like the
Three Stooges?
Three Stooges eye poke on the guys. I laughed out loud when I've watched it a couple times. Like I went back and watched that. I've seen it. I don't know if he quite did, but because he punches up at the Reese's head, but I swear it looks like he does like an eye poke onto all 3 of those eyes.
That's awesome.
Well, he only had 2 because he's wearing an eye patch.
Because he got one shot, didn't it? Didn't he get shot by the guy?
No, the Ishi Tib got shot in the eye.
Okay, Ishi Tib. Gotcha.
Yeah, the Reese is missing a stalk in an eye and is wearing an eye patch because he's a pirate.
Some things that I definitely wanted to hit on. Wim gives you the Luke Skywalker playing with his T-16 feel when he's playing with the characters, and he's a dreamer, and he wants to see more and be more than what he is. I definitely got the Luke Skywalker feel from that kid right there, and I liked it because Luke was the whiner, complainer a little bit, right? And Tashi Station, blah blah blah. Wim was kind of like that. It's not that he's not smart. It's not that he's not a good person. He just his head is somewhere else, and so I thought that was really great. We got the little. I loved that we had action figures. I mean, they were little statuettes, but to see a kid at that time playing with action figures, which will come back to another thing I want to talk about in a minute. Those action figures. We saw the blue milk, which was fantastic. You see it now all the time. But going back to those action figures, we're talking about AT-ATN. We're talking about how they had, we'll talk about this now, the Republic credits, not the New Republic credits. So
Old Republic
credits, they just considered it money. And here's this planet, which is considered a myth. They live on it and think it's just normal life. It's got a barrier that's blocking things from going in and out, I guess, in some way, shape, or form. And how many other places in the universe are they, after Return of the Jedi, playing with Sith and Jedi toys? Because remember, by the time we get to Rey, weren't the Jedi a myth, right? Wasn't Luke Skywalker a myth? But here he is on this planet playing with a Jedi versus Sith toy and reading things on his little reader that are about Jedi, which at that time, we're talking about the Return of the Jedi, the one Jedi that's in the universe at that time that people know of. So I just thought that was very weird to see those things all coming together. Alfie, go ahead.
Okay, so what he's reading appears to be some very old Jedi material because it talks about building a Jedi temple, much like the one on Lothal that goes underground and then can come back up. And if you notice, he's painted the action figures to look like a Jedi and a Sith. They looked very worn and almost like they'd been painted over. And I thought it was interesting if you paid attention when they first go into class, the teacher droid is explaining that their whole existence is investing in multiple currencies that they feel are going to become more valuable. So, but if they're on this planet and no one leaves, because the security droid said no one is allowed to breach the barrier and no one's allowed to come in, why do they have to study or basically bet on a stock market? They're the only ones there. That doesn't make sense to me, unless it's all a big ruse, And to me, I kind of got that feeling that everything that they're doing is fake. It's like the Truman Show. And she told two different stories about things that are happening underneath the planet and that it's very bad and people die. I almost think that this secret society or whatever, on the other side somewhere, they are mining resources. Someone is leaving and selling that stuff off and bringing, resource money or other resources back.
So
there's something nefarious, in my opinion, about what is actually going on in this planet.
That's good stuff.
I like hearing that, right? But I also, Joe, you made a comment about the timeline. And Jude Law, in his Darth Vader-esque attempt or whatever you were saying, had rhythm like that. He said the guy protecting the vault said, "I have authority under the New Republic."
Correct.
Right? So the timeline that you said, the only one we know is Return of the Jedi. So Luke is the only one we know, but this is during. Okay, so it's during the Mandoverse.
Right.
Okay.
It is after Return of the Jedi when the New Republic is in. Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So again, it's little things that you don't catch. Like Alfie pointed out that when they got to the planet or the space station, the guy's like, "Where did you guys come up with basically pristine Old Republic credits?" Right? But that's just their form of money. They don't even think of it as being Old Republic. I wonder if they've been sheltered from all of it. Were they sheltered from the Empire? Were they sheltered from the things that happened during the original trilogy? Did they even see any of that? I mean, because they seem to be in this little pristine planet where war is not a thing, and everything's just running like clockwork, right? And everybody's jobs are picked for them by a test they take when they're 12 years old. So it's a little different. I thought it was really great seeing the lightsaber battle between Neil and Wim, because let's face it, when I was that age and I'm out at the school bus waiting for the school bus, I guarantee you we were doing something like that, and some people were watching us going, "You nerds, get on the bus," right? And then we probably got bullied the whole way to school. But they were facing the same thing, and I like how the friendships on this, they bring opposites together. Wim, who's this dreamer who can't keep his focus on anything, wants to be an adventure, and Neil, and Wim only has his father, right? He doesn't have his mother in his life right now. And Neil has a full family, mom, dad, siblings, all this, but he's very much, I'm going to follow the path. I'm going to do what's right. I'm not going to break any rules. Those two get brought together. And KB and Fern, KB seems pretty straight and narrow. How many times did you say, Fern made me do that, right? Fern told me to do that. She didn't really want to break the rules. It was Fern's the rebel, making these decisions, and she's the rule follower. But it's always amazing how friends like that get brought together. And now you got two sets of them coming together. So, Brent, you were talking about found families before this ever came about. We were talking about the show title, or the show titles, and this one definitely had that feel to me.
Did you notice the mural in Fern's house?
Mm-hmm. Well, underneath the
with
steps.
with the angelic kind of figure that looked sort of like her mother. It's not, but then an Ithorian, and then Neil's species, and then there was a strange person that had their back turned away from the group, in almost like a Solo-esque kind of scoundrel jacket, but you don't see them from the front. They're looking beyond the three figures. So are those three the ones that found this place and started it?
Like their species?
Right.
Or those people? Okay.
Or just those people in general. Because that's kind of what the mural was implying, but we don't know enough about this place yet.
No.
And how long was the ship there?
A long time.
Right.
I gotta say, like with Joe talking about the dynamic between these two, duos coming together. One of the funniest lines in it is when the boys are digging and they're talking about the girls, and they're just like, "Girls are dumb," and then the girls are watching them and they're talking about them, and they're just like, "Boys are dumb," and I'm just like, "This is like my kids right now." That's the type of stuff that they say. It's like, it's hilarious. It's funny.
It was, and I know I'm saying too much. Probably you guys should say more. But KB, did anybody else have the Velma from Scooby-Doo meets Lobot feel about her?
Mm-hmm.
While I was watching her, I was like, Neil is Chunk. She's Velma from Scooby-Doo, but with Lobot stuff on her head, right? I mean, you could start putting these characters in different genres and feels of where they fit in other movies or shows.
Yeah, exactly. How great was it when they were when KB was changing her voice when they're back at it, and she's like, "Tell us what girls you like," and then Neil right away says that girl's name. Like, those are like just the little funny things they're adding into this show, where I think it's like you can tell they care about what they're writing on it. It's funny.
Neil's dad had a St. Pauli's girl poster in his garage.
Oh, no way. I didn't see that.
Yeah, but it's with that species. I also like that there was a Frisbee on his roof.
Typical suburb house.
Lived in.
Yes. Alfie, when you were talking about the nefarious stuff at Atten, and we find out later on at the space station that people were calling it a myth planet or a mystery planet. Fern's mom, when she came in and gave that speech at the school, the great work That seems like something very socialistic, communistic kind of a
Right,
feel.
very Maoist.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think in the High Republic they say something similar. I don't know that they call it the Great Work, but they do say something along those lines. But then again, it goes into this idea that everything they're doing is a facade. It's a fugazi. You're working for this, we're the greater good, when actually they're all doing something shady behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And which Wim's dad is hyper obsessed with it, and I don't know what happened to his mom. I'm sure we'll hear some more backstory about that at some point, whether it kind of screwed him up or not. Maybe she was more adventurous and maybe he was more of the rule follower, and maybe Wim takes after his mom, I don't know.
I like that.
But yeah, he's very much straight and narrow. This is what we have to do, like follow the rules, and that's it, And he's his job is taking over his life, and he's it's definitely an interesting dynamic that's going on there, and I definitely see him and Fern's mom coming together to try to figure this out, which they're two similar people. Not saying that they're going to get together, but romantically or whatever, but I'm saying like
Right.
I think they're two similar personality types, and it'll be interesting to see the stuff that goes on back at home pan out as the kids are out in the galaxy. It'll be cool.
Yeah, I think the more that they work together, the dad is going to find out that there's some shady stuff going on.
Because he's just a cog in the wheel. He's got
Right.
his head down, his nose to the grindstone, doing what they tell him to do, following his 12-year-old path that they created for him. Two things, D-Doc, that made me laugh that you talked about little scenes like that. One, in the school, waiting for the proctor to come out. Definitely just completely Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Fern playing the role of Charlie Sheen. She was sitting back, playing it cool, right, and trying to get answers out of Wim. Thought that was fantastic scene. The other one, come on, a bubble bath for Neil, a bubble bath. How freaking! I mean, I was not expecting that, but that was crazy. Where he looks in the window and he's in a bubble bath. I mean, just the weirdest, like you said, lived-in kind of situation, right there. So just
the holiday special that they were watching.
Yes.
Yeah, my wife, when we were watching that, she was like, "What the hell is this?" And I was like, "Yeah," I was like, "That's a little bit of a throwback there." I was like, I wasn't 100% sure, but I was like, I'm pretty sure I've seen that in the holiday special. I haven't watched the holiday special enough. I'm going to this year, actually.
I've got a
I've only
VCR
watched
tape of
clips
it
of
if you want it. So,
well, I've got your Christmas in the Stars CD here that I will be playing this year. So I do have that. So I got to watch the holiday special now.
Good. Alfie, remind everybody about the second in command robot SM-33 that you threw out to me, who was looking for the captain.
Yeah, it's me.
SM-33. It's me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a vanity license plate.
Yeah.
And he even has a personality like Smee. Like his personality is kind of in that Smee personality.
Except he's really good at fighting.
Very true.
Yes, he is actually. Kind of forgot about that scene.
He has, hot plates on his arms?
Mm-hmm.
Cooked up some bacon there?
Steaming some people against the wall. Brent, you're not to the end of part 2. So, shocker, spoiler, surprise for anybody who's listening. Brent, Jude Law, the kids are trapped on the space station. They're in the jail. Jude Law comes out of the darkness. Just what are your guys' thoughts? Because we now know or think that he's Captain Silva, which means he was put there by Brutus and the pirates. He's been there for a while, but yet he used Jedi powers to bring the keys over to him. Where are we feeling? Is he really are we? Just take some wild guesses. Is he going to be a Jedi and be good? Is he nefarious, as we've been saying? And
No, he's a
using
pirate.
this? Yeah,
He's an absolute pirate, and he
wants to
didn't
get back
use
to
his
Ad
powers
Hatton?
to get the key because he didn't have a way to get off the what is it, Bargo? Is that what the pirate
remember
place
the
was
title.
called?
Don't remember the
Port
title.
Bargo, I think,
Oh,
or
yeah.
something like that. He didn't have a means to escape, so why reveal his secret when he can't? He doesn't have a successful plan lined up. I think this is going to be the '80s movie, formula here. He's got bad intentions, but as he interacts more with the children, he's probably going to double cross them a few times, but do a triple cross and say that, oh no, I wasn't, that wasn't my intentions. And then, he'll be good at the end. He'll get him back.
And while we got to that, I forgot one of my wife's favorite scenes of the entire second episode was the driver of the shuttle that the kids took
Teak?
from the Teak, which wasn't that from the Ewok movies? Wasn't
Yes.
that character? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Funny little guy. She thought that was hilarious, how fast he was and how he ran around like that. And he got his money and took right off. He was ready to go. He was a cute little character right there. I thought that was funny to bring him back in.
Hondo's ship was at that port too.
Really?
Yes.
What a
The
show to
one
bring
from
Hondo
Galaxy's
into.
Edge.
That'll be cool they got to bring him in. That like I forget which one of you guys said it. Someone said you're not looking for the Easter eggs in this show. They happen to be there, but I don't really feel like I need them because this does feel like original new Star Wars to me. Although it's based off of a winning formula. Bringing him in would be awesome in this show. And that little guy driving that ship made me laugh my ass off.
Yeah.
And I said out loud, "What the F is that?" Like that's what I want Star Wars to make me say. And those are the things that I want to laugh at when I watch Star Wars. These guys know. These guys are where we're running at. I'm telling you, I have full faith in this keeping it up throughout the show.
But there's no surprise cameos.
I don't
That
need
sounds
those.
exactly what somebody who put surprise cameos would say.
Hey, real quick, I forgot. Brutus asked how the ship got in and the cannons didn't take it down. And as the ship was coming in, you saw the cannons track it, like 3 different cannons. So we're now thinking that ship has links to these pirates or links to these people.
Well, he said that he knew of a place to go where they could get what they needed.
Right.
So it's been there before.
So there's got to be something that the sensors are noticing about
like
that.
Pirates of the Caribbean, only pirate ships can enter this cove.
Right.
God. Come on, Brent. You're not hearing this stuff and getting fired up about
You're ready
it.
to go watch it right now, Brent.
I will fall asleep.
Oh, man. I love it.
Pirate K2SO, Adam Parker. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, guys, look, I know we went a little while where we had some low times and some doldrums. After Acolyte and leading into this, we were kind of looking at what's next, the space in between. What are we going to fill? What are we going to talk about? And I know we also took some time because all of us were going in different directions and timing wasn't working out. But this show has me pumped to where I can't wait to talk about the next episode. I can't wait for next week to see the episode, come and talk about it, and think about future possibilities and things like that. It was that much fun. It wasn't perfect. None of it has been perfect, but it was fun. It was entertaining. And Brent, your quote always is, "Entertain me." Well, these 2 episodes did entertain me.
100%. And one thing I really like about this is that other than what's his name, Vane, or the pirate that was in 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, season 3, it's what we're gonna say, 99 point something new,
Right?
And it didn't suck. Okay, so there goes your argument of, oh, you just don't like it because it's new. No, new is fine. Just make it good. Just don't make it suck.
Yeah.
And I had to watch the show. I watched it twice just to make sure that I actually enjoyed the show for all of its merits and not the fact that it was exponentially better than The Acolyte.
I think that's the title of this week's show. Just make it good.
Yeah.
Don't make it suck.
It's like we can go full circle back to the theater comment. The seats are full when there's good movies.
Yeah.
When you keep putting out dog shit, nobody goes to see it.
Yeah. Absolutely true.
Which, by the way, I have not seen Moana the first one because I didn't have kids at the right age to see that one.
Ooh.
So now everybody's
What
telling
can
me
I
how good-
say except you're welcome. The moon, the stars in the sky.
Moana's good, and that will probably be the one out of the three that I will pay to see. I will never. I'm just being honest. I will never ever watch Wicked. There is room in my life for one musical, and that's already been taken. There will never be another one.
What's
the
your one?
Monty Python and the Search for the Holy Grail.
Wow. So I have to ask because it's the Christmas time, and as we tail off into it's starting to end the show here, have any of you seen Spirited with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell?
No.
No.
It's a
Apple.
musical. It's a comedy musical for Christmas. Fantastic.
No thanks.
Fantastic. I will
Wicked
bet
is
money.
pretty good.
I will bet money you guys would all enjoy it.
I would give Wicked about a 7. My daughter.
I'm sure it's great. I'm
My
sure
daughter
it
would
is.
give it a 10. She actually got
Just-
tears at the way that the last note in the last song, the way it ended.
No musicals for me. And I'm sure if we sat here long enough, you could come up with some stuff that I do like, but yeah.
You mean the Muppets? There was what's the
Mm.
Muppet with
Muppets Christmas Carol,
Amy-
baby.
The
Oh,
Muppets don't
okay.
count because those all came out when I was a kid before I
No.
established the one
It's a new
musical.
it's a new one with Amy Adams and
No, absolutely not. I would never watch that.
Yes, Jason.
it's not Sudeikis, but it's like
Siegel.
Jason Siegel.
Yeah, no thanks.
Fantastic movie.
It is.
You're just
Thank you.
driving it further down for me. So stop.
It's so funny because it's like I'm like big musical guy. It's like I'll be demoing a bathroom, like doing this manly plumbing work, and I'm like listening to like Evita.
Yeah,
I love musicals.
that would be my hell right there.
I'll never force it on anyone else because I know it's not for everyone, and I've known that for a
Yeah.
long time. And it's just funny because it's like I've listened to Wicked soundtrack for years, never seen the play. I know every word to every song in Wicked. And their campaign just started to annoy me to where I was just like, I don't want to see this movie. And then I saw a full clip of them doing the popular song, which like annoyingly went viral on TikTok as just a song for people to use in a video where they don't even know the damn soundtrack. But people are like, oh, that song Popular was a viral TikTok song. No, it's from one of the best Broadway plays that was made, you dumbass. But
Wow.
Yeah.
that's modern timing now, though, because
That
Moana
escalated.
2...
Well, that's like Bohemian Rhapsody and Wayne's World.
Moana 2 hired 2 TikTok music people to make the soundtrack rather than Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah, and
So
I've heard from everyone that the story is a little bit better, but the music is nowhere near what the music was in Moana.
no, I wish I never knew that Disney made this as a... Because I love... Moana hit at the perfect time with my kids. It's a great movie for adults to watch, too, in my opinion. I think Moana is awesome. I think the soundtrack is a 10 out of 10, the first movie.
Yes.
They made a TV show and then realized they were dumbasses for not trying to make money off of it in theaters. I don't know why you would take one of your most popular IPs and be like, we're not going to make a sequel to it. We're going to do a straight to Disney Plus show. How did the Monsters, Inc. straight to Disney Plus show go? No one even knows it happened. And Monsters, Inc. is awesome. But to me, I could tell that it was a TV show that was made into a movie. And it followed, I wouldn't even, minor spoiler alert. This movie follows the exact step-by-step storyline of the first movie with just different scenarios. Every step and every song cue is the same. It's just that the songs aren't as good. Don't get me wrong, my kids loved it. We have the soundtrack playing, and that's what matters, and it's making money, which I'm happy to see. But I just don't want you to give me a cheapened down version. Like, this isn't the Minions series. This is Moana. So, like, don't give me like Minions 5. Give me legitimate Moana 2 with Lin-Manuel doing the soundtrack, which it should be. But, I'm done standing on the pedestal on that one. Because I'm a 33-year-old man ranting about Moana 2 when I did enjoy it, and my kids did too. But it's just like, I just think you can attain greatness, and you're choosing not to do it. This isn't a straight to DVD movie.
But that's what they thought they could capitalize on. I'm going to go back to that was the business model for 5 years, and they realized that it screwed up and that it didn't give them what they thought it was going to give them, and they weren't making quality, they were making quantity, and they then have to pivot back to movies, and it takes 2 to 3 years to make that pivot back. But that was their business model.
Yeah. Just make the right decision in the first place is my opinion on it. Just say, we're going all in, we're going big budget, we're continuing this movie the way it should be, and that's my opinion on it. But I'm not going to say Moana 2 is bad. Right. It's just that the first movie, the story and the soundtrack are so hand in hand, and like the emotions are there and everything, that it's like, the second one was good, but I just think it could be better. And when it can be better, that's when things can be frustrating. But again, 33-year-old dad ranting about Moana when his kids loved it, and they're going to see it again this weekend. So,
all right. Anybody? Let's go around. Any closing thoughts before we jump ship here? Oh, very pretty.
Ooh, is that like is that vintage DVD?
VHS.
Speaking of vintage, it just reminded me, and I know that we talk about it all the time. We're not necessarily as deep into it as the Hyperspace Heroes, but there is a announcement about our convention circuit that we do go to every year. The International Commissars Convention, Collective Convention, otherwise known as the ICCC, announced that they are going to move locations to a little bit further out to an Embassy Suites in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and it's going to be in May. I don't know how the specific days.
The 16th.
Yeah.
If you've never been, go ahead.
Alfie. 15th, 16th, and 17th, I think.
If you've never been to an Embassy Suites, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. They do a complimentary happy hour. You can get you can pretty much get as many drinks as you want, but you can only get like one at a time. And then they do like a complimentary like appetizer bar with like 4 or 5 different appetizers. And again, you can go back and like you don't even have to eat dinner. You could just use their appetizer bar for your dinners. Like, Embassy Suites are the real deal. And if he has convention center space, and there's usually a huge lobby, and if he can use that huge lobby for convention center space, it could be a pretty solid location for them.
Definitely. I agree. I've stayed at Embassy Suites in Williamsburg, Virginia was it Williamsburg? Might have been around Disney, actually. I forget. I know we've stayed there vacationing once or twice. And like you said, I remember the complimentary stuff was awesome there.
I went to one in Chicago. Yeah, go ahead, Alfie.
I went to one in Baton Rouge. I think when I went to training for a few weeks at ExxonMobil. It was very nice. Very nice. Yeah,
and so, I mean, I do know that the rooms are probably a little bit more expensive than they were at ICC or at the Sheraton that they had been in, but I think it's definitely going to offset with what you get from that. So
yeah. We should think about going to that.
I mean, Hyperspace Heroes just threw up the fact that we should apply for press passes now, because I'm sure like this year they had like 25 different podcasters that did their little spots. There were quite a few people doing it. So
I will go and apply.
But yeah, I just want to give that little shout out. I know we hit it at the end, but like you just reminded me by showing me that Phantom Menace vintage VHS.
Well,
Yeah,
So to-
I've been VHS hunting lately.
To go along with that, the ICCC, D-Doc and I were talking about it offline. We talked about Great Ohio Toy Show, March 29th, Xenia, Ohio. I was saying, do we go to one or the other, all that kind of stuff, because I didn't want to make D-Doc have to travel twice this direction. But if he's open to traveling twice this direction, March 29th, he could fly in before that to Indy, spend some time here. We could take him around town a little bit because you've never been here before, right, D-Doc?
No.
Okay. So then
Beautiful city. You'll love it.
And yeah, thank you, hyperspace. And then we could drive over to Xenia together and meet up with some of the other people, and then come back together in May and look at ICCC in Murfreesboro.
Joe,
So I'm open to all of it.
Doc has to come over here multiple times because he needs to get recognized.
This is true.
I know.
He needs
I'm
to
gonna
get-
go. I'm gonna need one of you guys to give me Tom Lyon's address, and I'm just gonna stand outside in his driveway waiting
I've
for
got
him to
it.
go to work.
I've got it. And look at the Hyperspace Heroes comment right there on the ICCC. Yeah. Big Joe and Are You Brent Dykman are going to be the headliners at ICCC this year. That would be fun. D-Doc, you've seen me. They want me to be the headliner. I'll go around from booth to booth, table to table, everything. I'll talk to
Oh
anybody.
my God! Yeah, you will.
So-
I don't think that would hurt the stock in any way. I will say that. I think it would be a good thing.
All right, D-Doc and Alfie. Brent gave the ICCC update. Either one of you guys have any updates?
No, I'm pretty much happy to be talking a Star Wars show on here. Was it's like I always, here's the thing, I always enjoy doing our podcasts. I always have fun doing it. It's just like when you get a show that you're excited about to talk about, and to be honest with you, I feel like it's kind of just been a while where I've been kind of giddy to talk about a show. There's probably 10 things that I missed talking about this. So like the one scene with the flashlight sitting on the ground when they're about to go into that tunnel looking like ET, like I'm just like, these guys get it. They get it. Like so that's the set design, the everything about it. I'm a big fan of it, and I'm really excited for the future of the show, and I'm excited to come on here every week like you were saying, Joe, and talk about it and have some fun with it. I'm not going to have the glasses on for it, but I might have the glasses on for it a little bit, actually. I'm full of shit, so I'm excited about it.
You got it. Alfie, how about you?
I'm really excited to talk about a Star Wars project that I can find so few flaws in. I think it feels good. I hate always being so negative, but the quality just hasn't been there. I really liked Andor for a lot of reasons. The thing I was down on it the most was just wasn't entertaining. The past couple shows just have been, just nosedives in quality. I'm excited to be able to talk positive about this one. And well, Brent, you said you didn't. Have you finished watch the second one at all?
Go ahead and talk about it, though. I don't want to.
Did you guys get the Andor reference in the second episode? And it's actually kind of interesting. I hate to bring this up at the end. When SM-33 is talking about, he lists off the A planets. He says Andali, which is where they did the heist in Andor. But he says it's a sulfurous bog. And that was not the case when they were there in Andor.
When they were there, they robbed the Imperial compound of their credit.
Right. And then saw the great, the Alaskan Lights or whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. I thought a couple of those A planets sounded familiar.
I mean, he said Aldari. I heard that, and like that was when he was running through, and he's like, "No, we want to go to AT-AT," which to me, like, obviously that is a play on AT-AT, correct? AT-AT.
Yeah.
Right.
Which the guy who does his voice is the guy from Shaun of the Dead, actually.
Right.
Really?
Is a good
Yes.
pull. Another good character pull. I just watched Twisters over the weekend, and Wim's dad is actually the guy. I don't know if you guys have seen the new Twisters, but he looked very familiar to me, and it was fresh in my mind. And he was one of the characters in the new Twisters movie as well, which was pretty good. Went into it with no expectations. Was entertained.
Okay, guys, this has been fun, and we've got something good to talk about. We're at chapter 299, 300's around the corner.
Oh my
I'm
god.
kind of thinking. I don't know if I want to go big on 300. I really haven't planned it out. I'm almost like I kind of want to wait until either the March Great Ohio Toy Show or the ICCC and just make it a bash and have people get together and have fun and all that kind of stuff. So I'm toying with that. Like our usual guests, some of our fan favorites have all said they'd be involved with anything we do, but I don't want to throw anything together haphazardly. I'd rather make it done upright, and we could celebrate 300 separately, and then plan for a big celebration of it later on. So I'm leaning more towards that right now, just because we're all busy. It's the holidays. It's football season. It's work is going crazy for everybody. So we might just zoom right through and take care of Skeleton Crew, and then see where we are when that's all done, and celebrate then. So, Dr. Squatch, I'll get the book to you. Let's plan on ICCC in May. Let's plan on Great Ohio Toy Show in March. And let's just keep planning on meeting up, having fun, and just hanging out together, because that's what's really the most fun about it. So thank you guys. And thanks to our listeners, Adam Parker, Hyperspace Heroes, something G, Alex G, who will notice D-Doc the next time he sees him, and Dr. Squatch, who always shows up as well. Thanks to all you guys for being a part of it. And you know what? Again, always follow us. You can follow us, like us on YouTube, Rule the Galaxy. We're on all podcast platforms that you can choose from. And if you have thoughts on stuff you want to see us do on the show, things we want us to play in, email us, rulethegalaxysw@gmail.com. We take comments. D-Doc's getting fancy on us.
I did not. Sorry, keep going. Go ahead.
We'll take your comments on those guys. We get some emails right now, and we love it. So give us some emails here on Rule of the Galaxy of things you guys want to hear and see on the show. And if my hands did that music, D-Doc, I'm sorry, but if you did that,
no, I did do it. I just didn't. Yeah, it was an accident.
And D-Doc and I could be friends for the next week or so, but in a few weeks we have to be like enemies just for a week, because the Eagles and the Steelers will be playing.
We took care of business for you, man. We took care of business for you. We're setting up that division. We're gift wrapping it for you.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate it. Adam Parker, Skeleton Crew Magic, right there. I like that. That might be the title of the show. Guys, everybody have a good night, and until next week, may the Force be with you.